Hi guys, Leia FX Model Miniatures back again. Not done a video for a few days. Just been busy on a couple of things here and there. But I thought I'd do a little update on the Return of the Jedi Y-wings. I'm doing a run of 5 of. Managed to get all the T-rods on models 1 to 5 today. That's been a long-winded job. The whole project has been a long-winded job, but just doing this run of 5, it's yeah, this model's a lot of work. There's a lot of lot of parts on this thing, but yeah, happy to get all T-rods and the rear rings on all today. All the little T-roddy style, type of vane parts, all of those are on. Number 5, where's number 5? That's number 5. Number 5 just needs, there's a few pipes to go on and a few styrene plates. And we're really getting there then. The last real long-winded job is putting the fins in each of the, rings on the back. Those have all got to be hand cut with also an inner ring. There's like a ring inside there with the cross-shaped veins, so all those have got to be done. As I said, I'm hand cutting those. They're only 0.5, so just not really worth casting. So there is quite a lot of hand cut, hand done stuff on these. Not everything is a casting. Obviously, the pipe work, that's all styrene. There's some little details that go in the back of the rings in that little recess up the back here. I've got to cut all those, so I've got to cut, I think, 40 of those at 8mm. Yeah, so pretty long-winded, but I am getting there. So I'm hoping over the next week I can get all of these all finally, in final primer, and then look at base coating them all. They'll all be base coated in Reefer White. Again, I'm hoping to be using the Archive X waterborne on these, which I think will be fun. More on that, as it comes. But yeah, that's the plan anyway. So they'll all be base coated in Reefer White. Then each internal get its markings masked up and done, so each one will get the yellow striping on the domes and cockpits. Then the cockpits, the canopies get painted, and masking wise, that's about it. There really is very, the paint job on this one isn't all that elaborate. It's pretty freeform. So once those are blown in and masked, it's just a bit of freehand fun then with the airbrush and various washes and misting, which should be really fun actually, seeing each one evolve and getting each one as close to each other as possible. I mean, obviously each one is going to have tiny little differences, which is kind of cool. As I said, I have numbered them 1 to 5. They're not going as being numbered as such. This was more a reminder for myself, so I didn't start forgetting stuff. So I knew which one I was working on at a certain time that needed what doing. So if I'm working on number 3 here, I knew that number 3 needed this part, this part, this part. It just helped me out really, because there's a lot of additional parts on this after the initial hull and engine casting. There's a hell of a lot of layover parts just to make sure that they're as close to the prop as possible, in having that layered undercut detail, so which helps a lot actually in the painting process, because it creates the right draw distances in the parts and stuff. If I'd have gone and molded all this stuff in like on a few 3D printed Y-wings, if it's all molded in, it doesn't quite work sometimes. Some of it does if it's flat plant on, but if not, yeah, it just looks a bit flat. And this is for a 14-inch Y-wing, it's very elaborately detailed. So anyway, guys, I'm going to move off these now. I'm sure you're bored of these, but I'll update you guys once they're all, you know, kind of in primer, maybe in base coat, and then maybe go through some paint process on them to get each in turn done and ready. But yeah, I'll move on to something else I've been tinkering with now. So just hang in there, and I'll move these and get to it. Right, guys, this is the other thing I was working on. I did actually say I may plan to build this as a videoed build, but I've got to be honest, there's more cutting and grinding and real mucky stuff to do. It would have been quite a boring build, but this is one of the Empire Strikes Back background ships. When you've got the fleet at the end of Empire, this is one of the quick and dirty models ILM made in that fleet, of which there are quite a few. There were quite a few quick and dirties, which some of them are really cool, some of them are awful. You know, no, I don't mean it awful as in, yeah, they're just not, they don't make a really nice display piece. But this one, it's quite an interesting shape. This one is actually, there are a few images of this one. It's kind of from this angle, where you can see it like that and see the three fins protruding down. As I said before, it's an Airfix Harrier 124 hull with a German 223 armoured car chassis bonded in there. You have to cut a fin away here, and it leaves a really nasty aperture, which is on the actual filming model, but I thought, no, I'm going to refine that, so I just epoxy filled that in, just use some epoxy putty just to fill that in, just make it a bit more refined. I also changed that out to a smooth cone tip there rather than the weapons pod. I just thought it made a smoother, nice transition. Why not? It's just a bit of fun. Obviously they're the nose or the cockpit area of the Harrier. I turned them that way up. There they are. That's where the pilot would normally sit. Those were fun to join on, but they went on pretty good. Again, more parts from the Harrier. I think that was a, oh wow, what was that? A T-34, yeah, Tamiya T-34 tank hull. That's just banded in there for now. That's not bonded because I've got to work on the mounting point. And then there's various other parts that have got to go on it. As I say, it's been very, very rough form at the moment. Up the back here, the actual ILM prop is devoid of this engine detail, and I'm not sure whether it never had any engine detail there or it's fallen out, not really sure. But what I'm going to do, just create a nice styrene bulkhead inside here and come up with something different. John Simmons and Lee Stringer, both those guys have built this model to really, really nice, to a nice level. They've both done a lovely job of it, and it looks really nice completed. But I want to go somewhere different with the engine bay, do something different to those guys, and also the paint. I'm thinking of doing something a little bit more daring with the paint. Maybe incorporating some pinks, which are used on the Rebel transport. A lot of masking. We'll see. As I said, I need to get the brunt of the work done and get everything refined and properly cleaned up first, and then I can think about finally priming it and getting to paint. But what I may well do, seeing as I didn't build it on video, I'll try painting it on video. We might have a go at painting it, like if I get it base coated, and then we'll try our hand at maybe getting all the masking and whatnot done that way. That might be quite interesting. So yeah, I'll keep you informed on that. Maybe give that a go. As I said, I'm just looking to do something a little bit different to the other two that are out there. Yeah, you know, it could end up a fairly interesting build. It's ILM Canon, it's studio accurate apart from the little just refinements I'm making to make it more of a display model. But that's that one. So in between Y-wings I've been tinkering at that, and then also I have been messing around with this little guy here. Now this is my stop motion aluminium or aluminum Empire Strikes Back ATST chicken walker. I built and completed this model a long time ago. I was involved on the little group that we had back then on IDing this model, of which there are a lot of donors on this model, a hell of a lot of donors. There were a few people involved in IDing it, and it was fun. It was really fun. This came about. Steve Nysen, he released the resin one. I think it was mastered by Easel Caro. Lovely kit, lovely kit. But I did start building a resin one of these, and I just wasn't happy with some of the joints and stuff. Just a little bit weak in resin, and it kind of just grew. It just became this project all of a sudden. Well, why don't we build it in an aluminum and ID all the kit parts? And yeah, it literally started from there. It literally, it just started from seeing the nice M1 done, and Easel did a fantastic job of IDing what he had ID'd. We then, took it upon ourselves to start IDing the model ourselves from some reference from, I think it was from Takahashi. He was involved with the Chronicles by way of Jason Eaton. And then, yeah, we just started IDing it. And as I said, there were a hell of a lot of donor kits on this. It's really donor hungry. It wasn't actually built as a stop motion filming model initially. Yeah, it was just a thing Joe Johnston put together, I believe. But yeah, it was liked so much by apparently George Lucas. It was incorporated into the film, so everything was, I believe, stripped off and then fashioned onto a stop motion armature. This one is, articulate to a degree, but this is actually what is the V1. Oh, hear that creaking, that's nice. Yeah, this is actually the V1 model. There are a few variants out there. I think they've got to V3 maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, this original model, when I was saying about not being too happy with the joints on the resin one, this one did come round to bite of yours in the behind. When the prototype was made of this, these were machined in aluminium. They're all alloy, the actual pinch joints, and you can't have an alloy pinch joint inside an alloy machined split part there, a pinch, without that cheesing up the aluminum inside. So yeah, this one is a restore now. As I said, I'd completed it some time ago, but I ended up stripping everything back to bare plastic, primer, whatnot, alloy, should I say. Stripping everything back, and started restoring it a long time ago, just through way of articulation. And I'd been messing with it, and it got knocked over time. A lot of parts fall off when you use CA to aluminum, and yeah, none of that is now CA'd. It's all used, I think it's an E6000 adhesive. It's a very rubberized but very solid adhesive. It takes a lot longer to go off, to actually cure, but it's worth doing because I can mess with this now. But as I was saying about the joints, the reason he now stands on an alloy mount is so I can leave the joints loose and articulate it, just to mess around with, really. But also, I don't trust freestanding this model anymore. The newer V2 and V3s have got brass machined joint inputs there, which obviously, yeah, that's cool. You know, that's nice and strong. But the alloy ones, they don't really stand up to the test of time, unfortunately. So yeah, it'll remain on an alloy rod. I just did a white plexiglass 10mm base for it. Yeah, it'll remain on there, so I can leave all the joints just finger tight, really, so I can just articulate it if I want to. Some of them are a bit tight actually to pull around. I've nipped them up a little bit, but yeah, again, hoping to paint this in the waterborns when it's actually done. I've still got a lot of kit parts to mess around with and replace. Yeah, still quite a bit of work to do in that respect. A lot on the chassis here, the leading edge of the thighs, etc. So yeah, there's still quite a bit to do on it, but I thought this was one of the first big studio scale group projects I was involved in. So yeah, I thought I'm going to restore the model because she was looking a little bit tired, and to be honest, I'm quite excited to paint it in Archive X Hues now, some SP lettering grey and that kind of jazz, and just yeah, do a better job at the paint up. Very fun model to create. Got a lot of love for the Empire Chicken Walker. I mean, it's yeah, it's a much more slender, lean beast than the Jedi. The Jedi's got a much more interesting armature, a lot more articulation. This one's very, very simple. I mean, it's hardly seen in the movie. But as I said, it was a really really cool, fun project, and this is what I'm kind of be up to in between Y-wing bits and the background ship, just slowly getting back to this, getting the dust off it, because it's been in this state for quite some time. I started restoring it, and then I ended up jumping into other projects, ADHD and whatnot. But yeah, I do need to get this completed. One fun cool fact, the V2 also has a more accurate leg section here. It's actually longer. This is tall. I mean, this is taller than a Jedi. You know, it can stand pretty tall. But the V2 was actually even taller, as this kit part here, the way it was trimmed, told us in time. It was actually a little bit longer. So, but I'm happy with this one. As I said, it's just a case of dressing it all up now, cleaning up the rest of the parts, and getting it into paint. But yes, guys, as I said, it was just a real quick update on a few bits and bobs I've been up to. Still a couple of other projects I've got at some point. I'll maybe start showing. Still a lot of work to do on that. But yeah, just keeping in touch, and if you've got any questions, feel free to get in contact. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.